Oh,
Yo, how did
Keep it.
Stone get the background? Yo, I want to say happy belated birthday to the big homie Cheeky. You turn the ripe 21 years of age. And he's about to be a father of two.
Yeah, man.
And big holds us down every week, you know what I mean? And an amazing producer and all around great guy.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, I had a little I had a little thing this weekend, invited some friends out, and everybody's getting old, man. Like, all your friends this year are just making it past that big mark this year. So
Nah, bro. I'm not old.
Right. I'm not old either. I'm getting better. I'm just getting started.
Don't put that bad juju on me. Don't you put that bad juju on me.
Yo, wait,
ladies and gentlemen, we want to introduce.
I was just about
guest.
to say, let's introduce the guy who the swag in the building. You know what I'm saying?
So we have the big homie Stone Phalanges, otherwise AKA known as Anwar Morse. He's an amazing illustrator, and designer, and artist, and husband and father, and a really good friend of mine. Another Buffalo bred and born,
Buffalo in the building.
Yes. This cat right here was on a journey with us way back. I remember going to Derek's studio, and Wire was part of the whole vibe. You know what I'm saying? He'll pop up with us after, because you lived down the way. You were down the way, right? And so we would catch up with Wire either before or after. He would hear like the tracks before we finished everything. Wire was around for the whole thing, and then y'all was cool before I met Wire, but I met Wire during that time frame, and just Wire been always on the scene. Him and Philly been on the scene for, you know what I'm saying, the whole time. And so big shout out to you, man. Always super dope hip hop enthusiast, definitely. You know what I'm saying? So big shout out to Wire. Yes. Show some stuff.
Yeah, let's go to that. Yeah,
man. And if you don't know, you need to know, and you need to follow Anwar on Instagram. So there is his handle, the real_Anwar Morse 99.
Yeah.
You got to tell us about your latest project, but I just want to show the people.
Don't follow Anwar Morse. I'm the real_Anwar Morse 99. The Anwar Morse guy, no.
Let's I just want to highlight some of this artwork over here, because it just goes to show you how talented he is. This is amazing. This beautiful woman is amazing as well. Wow. Look at all this stuff. So yeah, man, Anwar, tell us about yourself. I'm gonna just keep scrolling through this artwork while you let the people know about.
Well, I'm just a humble dude who draws pictures, man. That's all I am. You know, I've just learned over the years, not too many years, fewer years than you, but I've learned over the years. You just got to do what you do. You know, I draw pictures. That's about it. I try and draw pictures, and I try and get as many people to see them as possible. The second part is hard, so I'm still working on that. But you know, I like to try and draw some pictures. Basically, it's just it.
So tell us about this project right here, because I saw you promoting it online.
Oh, so that's the most recent thing that I'm doing. So there's a book I wrote over the last few years. It's called Humans Are Not Equal to Automaton. So it's about these three kids. They're kind of lost in this world of robots, and the robots are trying to capture them, and they're trying to escape the robots, and they're befriending some of the robots. So it's just a novel that I wrote, and I had a bunch of artwork around as well. So I have a lot of visual projects associated with it too. So I started making this series of videos because I figured I had so much artwork, and I had this other idea about kind of AI voices, kind of on that topic of AI, where I could kind of cast different voices for the book and just have them read out the whole book and kind of act out the whole book. And I have a video series that I'm putting out with the characters kind of like just sitting around a table reading the book. It's called like a table read.
So can we play one of those
Fire.
videos real quick? Because I think this is gonna just naturally spiral into where the conversation is going about how AI can be used and how it's used. You know, Anwar, obviously, he wrote this book. He didn't use any AI to write the book. Let's be clear about that. The book came from his brain.
Yeah,
and flowed through his
the
fingers.
book.
He
I wrote
actually
it.
wrote the book.
I wrote it like a sucker, like a sucker, my own brain, like a lame-o.
Like an
But he wanted to
ancient.
create almost like, you know, an audio, almost like a visual audio book, essentially, to kind of like go, you know, through the chapters and just, you know, have it just like you said, a table read of the book. And you used AI voices to do this, and that's, you know, I feel like from a writer's perspective and a creator's perspective, that's so dope because you took the time and the energy to put that together. But then I could see people from the voice acting community or whatnot be like, well, that usually would go to a voice actor, and here's this dilemma that we're now looking at with AI and the way it's being used and whatnot. But I feel like this is fine. I mean, you are a writer, you don't have the money or the budget to pay those people. And, you know, this allows you to essentially create your own promotional material for something that you worked very hard on. So I kind of feel like it's net positive for the universe. And, you know, that's kind of where I'm standing right now with the AI.
I'm going to play this one. Sorry,
Yep.
I'll put the audio on.
Yep. I'm not hearing audio.
You're not hearing the audio? Okay,
Yeah,
let me try
right,
this
yeah.
again. Sorry, I think I might have not shared my audio when I did this.
Yeah, I just feel like this project was never going to be like voice acted. It's just like not how it's formatted, but I could see one day a project like this being able to be done like with computer voices. Even if it was going to be a little bit bigger budget, a little bit more animation, like a little bit more expansive of a project, just because it's kind of progressing that rapidly right now, you know, to the point where sometimes voice actors, like they can clone a voice actor's actual voice and, you know, get them to say things that they weren't able to, you know, record in the studio and things like that. Which I think in some ways is really interesting. In some ways is kind of, you know, threatening for creatives.
Yeah.
All right, we should hear the audio now. Here we go.
His supply room. Boom. He tapped the bright green accept com button. The lights in the cabin lowered. A live image of his parents appeared on screen, flooding his face with light and throwing everything behind him into shadow.
Hey Mom, Dad, really busy here. I had to do a course recalc to bypass some low-level data rats. You just caught me triple-checking the numbers. You can never be too safe.
His parents regarded him with confusion.
So can we talk about these voices? What was the AI tool that you used? What was it called?
This one is called Natural Reader.
Okay.
So I guess it just in the process of copy editing my book, I would just listen to, you know, just audio readers, and I found Natural Reader, and it was one that sounded pretty good. So one day I just, you know, when I got the book to a level of completion that it was, you know, basically all done, I just took the whole book, put it through like 7 times for like 7 different voices, and then I just like cut them all up into like one
Each of their parts.
book. Yeah. So like for every main speaking character, I essentially have the entire book, like 10 hours of audio, and I just cut it up and rearrange it so it's like a conversation.
Wow. And you know, I like this presentation too. Did you do all of the animated work here? Like even with that one, the table read, and then the first video that we saw?
Yeah.
This one right here. This is all you two?
Yep. That's all me.
That's super dope, man. Like it just it gives it a lot of energy.
Yeah. I mean, I almost have like Alex to thank for that, because his one of his videos was one of the very first animated projects I ever made, you know, and it actually like pushed me a lot further than I ever had planned to go in animation.
Yeah, he
What,
did a
what
very
was that?
dope. It's a
I think
video
it was,
called She Don't. He actually did
yeah,
two. He
she
did
don't.
one called She Don't, and the other one is called Quasars.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely dope stuff. Yeah, no, Anwar, this is crazy impressive. I read an early version of the book. I need to, you sent me the manuscript. I need to read the new version of it. But I can tell you what I read is fantastic. There's a little wizarding boy who he should be shook because there's about to be a new entry into, young adult fiction, science fiction.
Yeah.
Because Anwar does have a voice as a novelist, and he's actually a really good writer. Like, he's being humble for real, but he's a really good writer.
I'm looking
And
forward to blowing up and saying something that people don't like, and then everybody hating me.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Unfollow everybody.
Word.
Yo,
So yes, so follow Anwar. Get ready for Humans Are Not Equal to Automatons, because it's going to be a really cool series. Because I know you're gonna have more of them. I know it's not just gonna be one book.
Yeah, what's the release plan with that, actually?
With the book or the videos? Because
I guess
both of them are a little bit up in the air. The videos, I kind of wanted them to be a little promotional thing, that just make a few of them, and that probably makes the most sense. But I've been enjoying them so much, I just want to do the whole book almost. But like that, they're like 3 minutes each, so it's like 3 minutes of the book. That'd be like 600 videos. That would be like over several years. So I don't know. I am gonna like do a couple chapters at least. The book, that's a little bit up in the air. I guess I'm gonna start getting the Kickstarter together. I gotta confer with a few people who know a little bit more about that than I do, but that I'm trying to get those things in gear pretty soon as well. So yeah, 2023. I think 2023 is a year all these things will be moving forward. More chapters of the video project, and the book, the actual release itself, will be coming around. Probably the Kickstarter, and then like a larger release, maybe some type of event sometime later in the year.
Well, we are here to support all of that. What tell us about the music usage in the table read? Like, what are you using for music? Is that stuff that you're putting together yourself, or are you going to kind of like websites to get that stuff? What did you use for that music?
Well, I found a big resource of license-free music. I just kind of chopped that up and put that together. The theme song it's that too. It's that too. Don't go out there like looking for it or nothing like that. But yeah, it's all license free. I promise you, bro. I promise you. But no, it's like I just found like a huge resource of free sounds and music, and I just chop them up, and to the point where I don't really know where some of the stuff came from. Sound effects is like a freesound.org, where I get a lot of the sound effects from.
Did you say? I think I heard you say the word collab, like 3BL collab or something like that. Did he? Was I hearing that right?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I could definitely use it, because I don't have any musical talents.
False.
I have zero actual musical talent. I just know how to use a few programs a little bit.
Well, you're going to share a track that you made today, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, so we should break.
Do we get a power for that?
Oh man,
definitely.
The drops are not set up today.
Power. Come out of the shadows.
So I did a thing. All right, let's get into some music, and actually let's talk about the challenge. So did anybody get a chance to play with any AI tools? It sounds like some of us did, right?
I did.
War did.
I did not, but I wanted to share some stuff that, about AI.
Let's do it. You want to watch that video to talk about it?
Yeah. So a homie sent me this video about this guy who I feel like I should know who he is. Danny Hastings, but he did a video, and if you go to his IG, actually, you can see a bunch of these videos that he's done. But actually, let's play it, and then I'll react to it. Yep.
Here we go. Okay, that's pretty dope. I'm stopping it just to stop the copyright claim that's happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I mean, I think what's dope about that is that, you know, we've been seeing a lot of people use this AI art images been flooding the social media and stuff like that. You know, this guy found a way to take that, you know, insane amount of processing power that AI provides and do something even more creative with it. And I feel like when we think about how computers just essentially enhance the things that we already do, I feel like this type of AI, which actually, when we think about science fiction, we think about robots, we think about automatons and everything. That AI is much, much more complex than what we're dealing with right now. You know, actually, John Oliver, if you guys watch Last Week Tonight on HBO, he did a whole thing on AI this week. And he talks about, like, you know, most of the AI is actually not really that threatening. And a lot of it is being used right now. Like, for instance, resume reading. Like, almost all companies are using AI to read resumes. And just it's already essentially a big part of our lives. And it's really just another tool, ultimately, at least right now in its current form. So I think that if artists can find ways of using AI to do something, like, for instance, if I'm working with a comic book artist and I have an idea, I can't really explain and articulate it perfectly, I can play around with AI and kind of create maybe a reference for that artist. And then that artist can be like, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Let's incorporate that. But then the line between that and actually just using AI art as a comic book, which already people do, is razor thin. So, you know, once again, it just depends on where we go with it.
So is there, like, I think I started reading or watching videos about, like, the legal aspect to it. Have we hit that yet? Like, since all of this AI artwork is a derivative of, like, thousands of different images, right? Isn't that where that's heading to? Like, some of these things are kind of like infringing upon, like, thousands of people's, like, you know, intellectual property all at once.
I think the legal cases are happening right now. Like, they just began with artists, like, from DeviantArt and things like that are seeing very obvious you know, versions of their artwork reinterpreted. Like P.So was saying, the Getty images, like, since Getty images are in the model,
Right.
the data that they trained it on,
Yeah.
they've seen, like, distorted versions of the Getty Images logo in these the pictures that it's making. Yeah, because the computer doesn't know. The computer just thinks, oh, you know, Getty Images is like a thing from, you know, pictures. Like,
right.
I make a picture, I should probably put that logo on it. So it's like there are artifacts of the things that they are sampling and training the models on in the actual images. So the legal cases are coming.
Yo, you know, it's crazy. Wire just said some magical words that I've been thinking about the whole time I've been talking. But forgive me because my mic was off a couple minutes ago. When you asked about anybody play around with AI, I did. I found some interesting things. I don't love it, but I did. But what Wire just said that brought me back to what I've been thinking was, you said they're sampling things, and if you really look at what AI is doing, right? It's no different than when we're like, okay, make a beat that sounds like this, or make a beat that uses, you know, John Legend, make a hip hop beat that sounds like that samples John Legend. When AI is just sampling reality. And that's exactly what's happening. It's creating its version of what the input says. And so it's just taking all the reality, all the real input, and creating its own version of it. And that's what we do on the show. So the only part of it that's different is that it can do it at a massive pace. You know what I'm saying? At a pace that's beyond, you know, our imagination. However, it's the same concept. Chopping a sample is the same thing as what they're doing, they're taking the concept, they're grabbing it, and they're making it something different based on the input or based on a need for whatever the prompts are. So I love that you said the word sampling, because I look at AI more like sampling, less like anything else.
I mean, that's probably what it is. Like they want to sell it right now more like it's like interpolation, like how who is that? Somebody that just got sued because their song had the sound of some old 70s song, but it was really just interpolation. It was like it was inspired by it, which is
Right.
what they're selling it as, but it really is like pure sampling.
Right.
You know, it's just that it's such a small amount of sampling that it almost seems like it's just interpreting things differently. It's like
Right.
a pixel, it's like sampling, but like pixel by pixel.
Right. And rearranging it. So
Yeah, so it
yeah.
seems almost like it's making up something new that's just inspired by it, but it really is like a pure form of sampling.
Right.
It's just like such small things that you're sampling
Right.
that it almost looks like it's something like brand new and just inspired by it.
Right.
And
like the Getty Images thing, like you said, like that. It okay, we searched the internet and every image that we found has this thing on it. So we should put this thing on ours, but it can't be that because it's, you know what I mean? But it looks like that. And I feel like that's so genius that was the way that you picked that up, because that's dope.
does it rub anybody the wrong way, either the AI visual stuff or the AI music stuff?
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely rubbed the wrong way about all of this stuff. It's all kind of scary, but like right now, it's like the baby version of it, you know?
Right.
But it's like
It's gonna get better.
yeah, it's like a little baby dinosaur, and it's like tiny and cute right now, but you know it's gonna grow up into like this giant thing with huge teeth one day.
Mhm.
So in that way, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, I
Does-
think that it kind of scares me. I mean, well, let me rephrase it. It scares me for the people who don't want to hold the dinosaur's leash and train the dinosaur and teach the dinosaur how to live and how to survive. And then when that baby dinosaur grows up and becomes a giant dinosaur, it now has favor towards the one who actually endeared it. You know what I'm saying? So we feed it and tell it what to do. Although it seems autonomous, it's not. You know, it's nothing without the creative mind that puts in the prompts. So without having your a toe in the water, so to speak, you'll never swim in this water. So I think that the key thing to do right now is understand the language, try to dissect the coding and dissect the inputs and the prompts, and then understand where those prompts are generated into. Like it's some deep diving that's required right now. It's almost like learning a separate language. You know, it's not enough to just use AI. You got to understand what algorithms are being put into AI and how to not necessarily disarm those algorithms, but understand what they're armed with.
Mm-hmm. I heard a musician, another guitar player, talk about how like this is the beginning, right? Shit is not going to get worse, right? It's only going to get better, right? So it's it's going to evolve to a point where the people like you're not going to be judged by how talented you are on like your instrument per se, but how good you could prompt, right? Like,
right.
If you think about how crazy that is, right? Your 5 words that you put into the system to tell it to like output something great. You know what I mean? Like people are going to get really, really, really good at that, right?
Yeah. Like think about like DJs back in the days. Like DJs made songs say what they wanted them to say with 2 records and a turntable and a head, so you know what I mean,
Right,
headphones
right.
And a mixing
That's
board.
a good
like,
analogy.
That's the same thing AI is doing now. You just literally take this song. Like perfect example is Jazzy Jeff, one of the greatest DJs of all time. Jazzy Jeff was like scratch king for a long period of time in the 70s, 80s, well 80s and 90s, and you could literally make 2 songs say a whole different phrase than what they're saying with just what you have in them. It's all about, like you said, the prompt. So I'm not afraid of it because we've seen this before. We've seen this before. People walked and then they got horses and then they drove, or they had buggies and then they drove, and then they had engines and then they had planes and then single engine planes. And now we have jets and stealth bombers and all. It's always evolution. And I think that it's all something to fear if you're not the one holding the wheel.
Right. Ride the wave. Get involved. Get involved in some way. Don't get left in the past.
Big ass will to hold this time though.
What'd you say?
I said it's a big will to hold this time though. Steering wheel is huge.
So let's listen to some music because once we start playing some of this, I think it's going to help us talk a little bit more about what we found out. So Stone Phalanges, do you have a track and do you want to share it from your side or do you want us to share it?
I mean, I guess if it works, I'll share it from my side. So how is it gonna work? When I share my screen, the audio should share just like how my
yeah, there will be a little button there when you share your screen and like it'll say like share sound too. It's like a small little unchecked checkbox. Just make sure that's checked.
All right.
And if that doesn't work, then I think I have it in the chat. We could pull it up, but it might take like a second or so.
All right.
And while Anwar's doing that, I think we're gonna have a special surprise on this show if E is gonna open up Jarvis and create a beat live. We might get that. So I just want to let everybody know we got potential live beat making happening here.
Okay. So is everybody seeing?
Yep. We see it.
All right. So not sure what I should. Oh wait, this is the wrong thing. This is a different thing.
Oh, here we go.
Yes. And that's
Adobe Audition.
External. I don't know what I should change that to.
Oh, wait. Oh, never mind.
It crashed. So I'm gonna try and show the Adobe Audition version, but I also just have the MP3 as well. The MP3 is, I think it's helpful because it's like I have the parts.
Okay.
Too. Yeah, this is a whole Biggie album I was gonna make called "Ready to Live." Don't judge me.
Oh wow, no judgment there. I like the concept.
No, I'm not doing that. It would have been so disrespectful to me.
Is it the thing you would have said that would have got everybody disowning you? Is that the thing? Is that the thing?
Maybe.
He already planned his escape. I'm gonna get real famous and then drop a Biggie album.
So, yeah, Audition is what I use to make sounds. I wouldn't call anything that I make music. I don't have any, I don't know how to play any instruments, write rhymes, do anything like that. Guys, you guys heard that? All right.
Yep.
So this is the whole song. I think I'm gonna break it down and show you guys what I did on Audition, but I'm gonna try and just play the actual song itself that I made. Here it is. It's called Burners.
Yes.
I used to flip burgers at the Golden Arches. Tonight the 5 grand with the uniform is my charges. Minimum wage, but I had to make ends meet. So I hustled and bustled to keep my life sweet. Working at McDonald's, the daily grind, my pockets feeling light. But I don't mind, I got to pay the bills. Got to eat too, so I serve workers. What they do? My home workers are cool, they keep it real. We laugh and joke. We hustle for the deal, the customs come and go, they need a fix. So I give them a smile and a side of tricks. I'm learning skills, building my wrist I made. I'm taking up, I'm paid in my way. I'm not content with this job, I want more. So I'm planning my next move and knocking on doors. It's a struggle just to make a living, but I had to keep on giving. I work hard, I rise and shine. My future's bright, watch me climb. It's a struggle just to make a living, but I had to keep on giving. I work hard, I rise and shine. My future's bright, watch me climb. Started at the bottom, now I'm here from making friends to managing. It's all clear, I learned the ropes and climb the ladder. I never let the haters or the doubters ever matter. I ain't gonna front. It wasn't easy, but my work ethic was my key. I had to stay hungry, stay humble, stay focused. I had to make the most of what was given, no excuses. I'm making moves, no matter how small. I'm working hard to stand tall from the drive room to the back kitchen. I'm hustling, no quitting. So when you see me now with the smile on my face, just know that my hard work put me in my place. From flipping burgers to being the boss, I'm living proof that dreams don't come at a cost.
Right, so that's it. That's the song.
Nice.
That's crazy.
It's interesting to me how like some of the way that it was stretching the vocals, it almost sounded like they was playing them in reverse sometimes. But you use like a few different AI programs to make this, right?
Yeah, I use a
All right.
few different
Let
AI
you break it
programs.
down.
So it started out with Chat GPT because I was just like, hey, could I make a Biggie album? I'd like to do that if Chat GPT could do it. So I asked Chat GPT to make a Biggie's album. So the way Chat GPT works is like it understands rhyming, and it understands, or I mean right now at least to the level that I was able to prompt it. It seemed like it understand rhyming, and it understood how to talk about a topic. But like the actual structure of the song, like if I asked for 16 bars, it wouldn't really give me 16 bars. It would just make a song. So it would be like, two verses, they each be like, 4 bars each, and a chorus. So I just cut that up and took what I wanted from it. I essentially just told it to write 2 songs, and I just collapsed those 2 songs into like 2 16-bar verses and like a hook. So I did do a little bit of cutting and pasting as with like some of these lyrics, but this is all stuff that was written by Chat GPT. I didn't write any of this. And then I took that and I put it into there's a website called UberDuck that has all types of voices that you can make. So this is what the voices actually sound like when I don't do anything to it. This is I think it should be the chorus. Let me just highlight this because you might not know what it's saying otherwise.
It's a struggle just to make a living, but I had to keep on giving. Working at McDonald's was just a start, but I had to make my way up to the top chart.
Yeah, so it doesn't actually like it just kind of says it like it's talking or something like that. So what I have to do is, and it actually would have been easier if I would have did it bar by bar as opposed to like I did like in 8-bar chunks, because then I could do the corrections more easily. So I cut everything up like this. So I ended up having to like cut up all the different things that he says. So some of the things are stretched, some of the things are squeezed.
First off, that the Biggie voice is pretty on point. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty good, but there are some things that it's just difficult for it. Like it won't say fries for some reason. Like I could not get it to say fries. Like no matter how I spelled things phonetically, it will not say fries. So I don't know if like maybe the data that they had, like Biggie never said fries. I don't know. But I could not get it to say fries. So like
I used to flip burgers at the Golden Arches. Denied the 5 grand with the uniform as my
yeah,
charges.
so all of these are like stretched.
Yeah, it starts off so strong. That's like super strong that first couple bars or that first bar.
Yeah.
And you could hear like where some of it's like sped up and stretched too. But keep going.
Yeah, like, and I probably could have did it. Well, it would have been easier if I did it bar by bar because I now could have just did the corrections in the thing instead of separately. Like I had a whole separate folder just for like word corrections, which would have been easier if I'd have just did it in the prompt itself and just corrected it and spelled it phonetically.
So you had to just do like separate
Yeah, so I just like
phonetic
I literally had to
eyes.
spell out for eyes to try and get him to say fries. This is what I could. This is the closest.
Burgers and fries.
That's the closest I could get to burgers and fries. So I was just like, forget it. He just sells burgers. He doesn't sell fries. He just sells burgers because I can't get this thing to say burgers and fries. But yeah, so that was the verse,
Fayo.
and the writing, and then the song. This is the beat that I got from there's a website called
Where did you get that? What's that from?
It's called Refusion.
Okay.
Refusion.com. It's riff and diffusion together. And
that's comes from a prompt.
Yes. So I write in like, boom bap something. And it makes different beats and things. Like I have some examples of other ones, but they all like they kind of keep the beat for like maybe 2 to 4 bars, and then it switches up like every little bit. I don't know how that one works. That one seems to work a little bit differently from the rest of them because it doesn't work that well. Like if I ask for something very specific, it's still really general. Like it makes music,
Yeah.
like music kind of, but it's super general. Whereas Chat GPT will give you essentially exactly what you want, maybe not to the level of quality that you want, but like, hey, I want, Biggie rapping about working at McDonald's. It's going to be exactly that.
Wow.
Whereas this one is it's just, these are all various boom bap beats that I was trying to make.
How many full songs did you finalize? Was it just burners?
Oh, just the one.
Just burners? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to see how the how like wonky the audio can be, I have like a longer version of, what is this one? This is the song about, this is a song about giving up his dreams of rhyming to get a corporate job. they're all like
Was
that.
ones I used to dream of rocking stages, spitting rhymes, but reality hit hard. It's a different time. I got to make ends meet. I got to survive, so I left my rap dreams. I had to thrive. I gave up my mic. I gave up my soul. I'm working at 9 to 5, but it's taking its toll. I miss the spotlight. I miss the flow, but I got to pay bills. Got to let go. I had a dream to be a rapper on top, but life hit me hard. It made me stop. I had to make a choice to pay the bills.
It goes on like that.
This almost feels a little like blasphemous.
Yeah, that's why
we're like,
that's kind of why I stopped.
We're like tapping into like, what is Biggie's soul doing right now? It's like he's getting called back.
He's not happy. He's not happy. He's not happy about it. There's a song about making bisque. Like, yeah, I had to stop.
Bisque? What?
Yeah, it's a song about making lobster bisque. Yeah, I didn't.
Man,
go very far on that one.
This is amazing though. Thank you so much for sharing all this. This is awesome.
But yeah, I think that's all of it. It was just Chat GPT.
Can you please play the lobster bisque song?
If you got one, can we hear one verse of bisque, lobster bisque?
I don't think I exported that one. I don't think I exported any audio. Yeah, it's called "Is That Your Bisque?" But there's no audio.
Is that your bisque?
It's just
wow.
It's just what Chat GPT wrote for me.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had a Kendrick song on here.
So I think Uber Duck is now not free.
It's not?
It's like, because I was going to use it as well.
As of yesterday? Because I was using it a lot, like barely recently.
Yeah. I don't know. We could check it out. But I was trying to get
They did send me an email. They sent me an email like, hey man, what you working on? You've been using Uber Duck a lot. It didn't say anything about paying or anything like that, but it was kind of interesting that they like emailed me about like, hey, what you working on, man?
Maybe I did it the wrong way. let me see. I'll try it again.
You might
Wait,
have, it might be one of those things where you have to sign up, but you might not have to, like if you don't like log in, it might, you might have to pay. I don't know though. But they didn't ask me to pay for anything.
no. Text AI generated raps. And then I'm like, the feature is only for paid users for now. Sign up for a paid plan.
Really?
So it gives you, they do have a free plan. But you can't do the rap stuff on it. And then they have like the first plan is $96 for the year. Unless I did it wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have clicked on AI generated raps, but maybe I should have done text to speech.
Yeah, I just do text to speech.
Okay, then I messed
I mean,
up.
the AI generated raps might it might time it and everything automatically, whereas I have
Okay.
to like chop mine up and like stretch and pull and all that type of stuff with it.
Okay, so then I could still do Biggie in here, right?
Yeah, he should be in the text to speech also.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Amazing. This is super dope. Thanks for sharing this with us.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, how do I stop? I don't know how to stop.
Thank you so much, War.
There
This
should
is
be a
so
button
dope,
that
yo.
says stop
Oh,
sharing.
there it is. It is a big red button that says stop sharing.
I was messing with a different one and I'll start sharing my track or whatever, but I'll just go through all the different apps that I used and then I'll play my beat. So real quick. I was trying to get some verses too. This is called fakeyou.com. So you could put in like a bunch of stuff and I was just doing like one phrase. I was going to chop it up to make a chorus.
Dropping dimes.
So dropping dimes. This is
3 beats later.
see, this sounds really not as good as the Uber Duck stuff.
Robots gonna kill us.
Wait, what was that one? What that say?
Robots gonna kill us.
Robots gonna kill us.
Well, see, I got some similar results when I was using UberDuck, but sometimes you have to like spell things out phonetically. Like if you spell things out phonetically or with different phonetics, sometimes it works.
It would work better.
Yeah, but there are some words that just sound super weird and you don't really know why.
Yeah,
you
I
just
have
trying
a
to-
great example of that actually.
Funny with the money.
Funny if the money sounds good, but here we go. Here's
Automatons.
yeah.
automatons.
Automatons.
Yeah, stuff like that happens frequently.
So I'll go through the ones that I used. Fake You, where I was just messing around with the voice. I think at the end of the last show, we looked at a writing one that would give you like a full song, and I think it was called Writer or Reader. I forgot, but Q had put me onto that. So I wrote a song just by saying like write a song about robots blowing up the world, and it hit me with like everything, verse, chorus, bridge, all that good stuff. Here's what Anwar was just mentioning, Refusion. So let's give it a prompt right now. Let's type in future bass and see what happens. Up next, future bass. Do I hit play now? Let's find out. Techno DJ and country.
You click on up next.
Oh, okay, here we go. That's interesting. Okay. I messed around with mellow bites. It scared me what it came out with. It was just like in a bad way. It just sounded like really crazy. I was trying to get some vocals to sing. This did not work out the way I wanted to. Here's one called Ava, AIVA.ai. This, I'll just let you listen to it. That's all we need to hear. And so that didn't really work out. And then like I was on every single other one of these that was recommended on anybody's video, and it just kind of not a lot of stuff really stuck. Although I really did like this chord generator. This one's called Chord. I sent it to you guys in the chat this week. Just it generates like 4-bar or 8-bar progressions. You can tell it like what style, and you can tell it what key. It will generate something for you. And I like this chord progression. So all you do, that's all you do. You just hit generate and give it like 2 or 3 different, things to.
Can you export that as MIDI?
You can. Actually, I'll hold on that. You can export it as WAV, MP3, and PDF, but I think for some reason the MIDI might not be free. Let's see, 7-day trial. So I think they want you to sign.
They paywall the MIDI. They already know what's up.
Yeah,
because if I get my hands on that MIDI, it's a wrap.
So I have a plugin that does really good chord generated stuff, but it doesn't do like this, like automatic, just give me something random. This give me something random was pretty cool. But P, you should be able to use this and route the audio into your DAW to record. So you could probably do like create the chords here and just like have it record if you wanted to do that. But
you still got to use the sound from chord thing, right? You can't.
Yeah. Or you could, I could probably show you quick ways to like have chords generate in Ableton based upon like telling it what chord it is. I think there's a workaround there. So that way you can kind of play with this till you find something good and then just copy and go open up Ableton and go bar 1, D minor, bar 2, A, bar 3, G minor, and so on. Anyway, so this is like a pretty cool one, chord. And then I'll show you what I made the beat with, and I'll pull up the MIDI that it provided. I got to pull this up on my phone, so just give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. Sorry. Here it is. Okay. Share the screen. Start. So this one was called Amadeus Code. And it's an app, and it might be just for iPhone. So this is it's like a wheel, you spin it up and down and it will just auto generate something completely different. So I have this track saved because this was the one that I was like, okay, maybe I could do something with that. Look at E's reaction here. So it sounds like it sounds like some terrible Casio shit, right? But here's the thing: this allows you to export MIDI, right? Actually, let's go to Discover mode. Check this out. So we could go. Let's go to a song. Okay, you ready? I'll go and generate something new. So here's just I swiped up, and now it has some new joint right here. That shit sounds scary. Okay, so that is obviously what you're dealing with. You can tell it all these different things, right? And then you have to do it long enough and mess with like the different prompts and stuff until it gives you something that's like actually listenable. You can change some of the instruments on the free version. Like, do I want to use the harmony being a piano? Do I want to use the lead to be like a flute? And then we can hear how it sounds. Let's play a different section. Sounds terrible, right? Okay, but I found one.
Yo, he found a good way to dance. Beats, you're killing me, bro.
Oh man, he loves it.
I heard so many songs just now that was like the whole top 10 of the pop charts.
So I exported the MIDI, right? And
yo, Cheeky, did you go Iron Man on the beard?
What do you mean?
Cheeky went Tony Stark on the beard.
What, do I have gray in it?
No, you got the Tony Stark vibe going on with the beard. Long story, it's okay.
I trimmed it up. Long story. Okay. So here's the joint. So I used Amadeus code to create some random shit, imported the MIDI into Logic, and I used the melody, and I used the lead, and I think that's like the main and the bass line. And then I used Logic to create drums because you heard that craziness that was in the app that was terrible. And then I got something that was like listenable. So I'm going to play the track after I update my audio settings.
So while you're doing that, a question for you. Is it export individual sounds from Amadeus, or does it export the whole thing and you got to break it down as far as MIDI goes?
You can choose what you want to export. It will export like an MP3 or it will export MIDI. I'll show you exactly what it looks like. The MIDI, it gave me 1, 2, 3 different files, which I don't know if you could actually see this. Can you see that folder? So this is like file 1, file 2, file 3, and you just drag and drop, and that's what
we only see your DAW.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were showing me like that line.
It's just 3 files, like they're named like something crazy, like a super long name. And then when you drag and drop it, this is it right here on the screen. So this is the bass right here, this track right here that I highlighted. And so, MIDI is just the actual data saying like what notes to play on what time, right?
Right.
So this is like all the MIDI basically that it dropped in here.
But it dropped individual, each sound of the beat individually.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
It said this is the bass, this is the whatever. So
Sweet.
Once the MIDI was in there, then I chose somewhat better sounding instruments, which I'll play for you right now. So mute your engines, and I'll let it go through twice so you could hear like part 1 and part 2. Here we go. So I don't know, 1999 Sega Genesis.
That was fire.
That
I
was
really like
knocking.
that.
That was knocking. Once you got with that was
Yo.
beautiful.
There's this video game called Celeste that has like a
Yes.
really dope soundtrack, and it reminds me of that soundtrack, like where it used a lot of 8-bit sounds, but like the composition was actually really dope and engaging. You can actually just play that sound if you ever just need some background music or whatever while you work on ever. Pull up the Celeste video game soundtrack. It's on stream, and it's a really good. Actually, the remix. There's actually two of them. There's the regular album and there's the remix album. The remix album is actually even better, actually, in my opinion. But
Wait, I have a question about that bottom track.
Yeah.
What is that? That's from the app, and you just changed the instrument?
Everything is changed. Like all instruments are changed to be at least palatable on the ears, right? Because what you heard was from the app, right? The app sounded atrocious, right? So once it gets into here, you could just take the MIDI and then turn it into any other instrument, right? That's just going in. I chose something really harsh on the ears just so you could hear that would be the melody line, right? So if you teamed up with a singer, you can say, hey, listen, we're going to ditch this track, but I want you to hear what the melody line is. So, right. So I use the crazy synth. This is on Alchemy, which is like the built-in synthesizer. This is called Le Inferno. And it just sounds really harsh, right? But you could choose anything different, right?
Well, see, the thing about it almost sounds like when you break vocals down to MIDI, and like you can still kind of hear what the person is saying. Like I feel like I felt like I heard a singer singing that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is like,
I guess that's what you can do when you actually know how to make music.
well, it totally seems like a potentially usable thing if, again, it comes back to the user, right? It's like the user has to know their way around, like what's going to sound good, what instrument selection is going to sound good. I didn't have a ton of time to do all the good instrument selection, so this is like, these two instruments sound okay to me, right? The bass sounds pretty, right? Talking about this sounds somewhat modern, and you have like a little bit of a interesting arp going on. So it all comes back to like, okay, well, we have something completely auto-generated. It's just giving you ones and zeros on when it thinks, notes should happen. And then now the producer has to go in and then say, well, I think this would sound good under this instrument and this would sound good with this instrument. And you could kind of just mess around with it completely and change it all around to get something. So if you're working on spaced out, videos with comic book art on them, that could be a potential thing that you do there, right? To get some quick and easy music to mess with is messing with some of this auto-generated stuff. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah. I mean, that was like real music. That was like real music, which is I guess what people are going to have to do when it comes to AI, especially at this stage. Like there's a few different levels. There's the person who just, is a monkey with a machine gun who's just going to type in whatever and they're going to get something, which is basically the level of AI music generation I'm at. And then there's a person who's like, a little bit more advanced with their prompts, who are going to be able to get something that is going to sound pretty good, but it's still going to be under the constraints of like what an AI can do. But beyond that is going to be somebody who can use AI, who has some type of command of the technology, but actually knows how to make music, which then it's you're basically going to be in the same ballpark, except more powerful and more effective, I think.
Yeah, it's like almost like another instrument, right? Because you have to learn how to play your instrument at the end of the day, right? Like if I know how to play guitar and then I'm presented with like a bass guitar, I'm gonna probably hopefully be a little bit better of a player than you would, right? Not knowing how to play an instrument, right?
Yeah.
So the people who probably are going to have like a little bit more of like the ability to work with the AI are going to be people that have some of the skills that are tied to like teaching it. And so I mean for us, like I mean, I wouldn't say you're selling yourself short because you were able to do so much with UberDuck and the video editing tool. Somebody who didn't know any of that stuff is going to look at it and be like, "Oh, this is terrible. Like I can't do anything with it," or maybe not do as much as you were able to do with it. Right? You did a whole track, and you say that you don't know a lot about music, but I mean, just you already like showed that you understand like the bars, you understand the verse and the structure, and you understand when Biggie was like saying something in the right rhyme scheme within a bar or within two bars and stuff like that. So people without the know-how, I think, are probably going to be not able to do as much as people with some know-how of some related type of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's almost like with the art. Like if I use something like Dolly 2 to make some artwork, it's a little bit different from, somebody who's just like, oh, I want a picture of a spaceship. You just type in spaceship, with a few parameters. I would use that, and it's just like it is a really good tool for like color composition and things like that. Maybe some of the things that I'm maybe not as strong with. Like I would take that, and I wouldn't be able to use that as a piece of artwork, but the color composition might work really well with me. So I can just draw that same exact thing or something that like looks similar to it, but like I can strengthen the drawing and kind of take some inspiration from the color and how they use the color, which AI seems to be pretty. I kind of like the way that AI uses color. It doesn't draw that well, and its drawing structure isn't that great a lot of the time, but its use of colors is kind of nice.
Um, I also went and just did a Dali prompt, and it was like, I want to make an artist against this song. So, I think like as things get better and as people like understand how to use the technology, you could pretty much put out a whole album, right? You could, even if it was like 1999 Sega Genesis soundtrack music,
Yeah,
you could create your whole persona using AI, right? I prompted Android with Mohawk, and this is what it gave me.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And all of that is in theory as of this moment, royalty free or whatever. You could use it for like a commercial project.
yeah.
And what was the work that I did on this? I found an okay MIDI, a couple nights ago. I imported that and I chose different instruments, and you have like a workable 16 bars here, whatever the hell this is.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean, I guess the only thing I would say about the completely AI generated stuff, like Refusion or something like that, is like it's super like wonky, but it'll make you a whole thing. It's like it, as opposed to like building materials that you could like kind of put together to make a house. It'll make you a whole house. It'll just be a really weird looking house. Or at this point it's like it'll make you a nice front door, a nice facade, but the inside of it is going to be like really, really weird. That's why like I would take like maybe 4 bars and I just like loop 4 bars, because after 4 bars it kind of repeats, but it just gets weirder and weirder, and it kind of like morphs into the next song for 4 bars and then changes a little bit more after that. Like I actually made some music for my video project that sounds a little bit better. It's just like jazz. So it's like a lot of like jazz riffs. It's not as much repetition and stuff. So
mhm.
that worked out a little bit better. Even though it kind of sounds like jazz music played by people who don't play instruments that well. It like definitely like misses notes from time to time. It'll like you'll hear an off note like in it, but you can tell that it's like trying to play music.
Yeah, it's like I've noticed that with some of these, like it's just kind of throwing a lot of things at the wall. Like the AI that's probably not as great for music. It just seems like it's like, what? From I'm looking at it, I'm like, what? That's not the right key. It's saying it's in this key, it's not in that key. It's just those little things. I'm like,
Yeah.
they're still working
Well,
through the bugs for some
the
of the
funny
stuff.
thing about like Refusion is like the way it makes music is almost like backwards. Like how you would make music and then you have like you'll see the waveform. It almost like makes a waveform and then makes the music from that. Like it designs the waveform to look like what the waveform of some actual music would look like,
Mhm.
and then like decides what the music would sound like based on that finished waveform that it creates. So it's like
Yeah,
kind of weird.
I was looking at that. Like it shows you like the waves falling through the little player there that look kind of crazy. Like I didn't know if that was like a crazy visual representation, but
Yeah,
technically, yeah,
I mean
that's
it's
how.
kind of both.
Yeah. All right, we were gonna have E do a live beat making session because if you don't know about E, he has we call him Jarvis, we call him the AI himself because he has a bunch of stuff set up in his DAW to help him create beats in a way that is designed for I guess like speed, but they sound dope. And he was gonna give us some more insight into that, but he dropped off. So I'm not sure where E is, if he just had a Wi-Fi issue or not. And then P.So,
Happen to be.
I don't know. P.So is also muted, so I don't know what's going on over there. So we might not get any more music for the rest of the show.
Mm.
And with that said, what we're going to do is go back and continue to promote. Anwar, you got to give
Well,
the
I
people
I
what they
do have
want.
a little bit more music that I could play along the lines of AI. I did not make it. It's
Okay.
all AI stuff. Just to give you some idea of the types of prompts that I have done and what it has wrought. Let me see. Share. Yeah, so let me go back into yeah, because I've been making a lot more music with Refusion since I found it,
Mm-hmm.
just because I wanted to, I don't know, kind of expand the I guess the audio palette of my table read because it's just like voices speaking and then some sound effects. So I actually wanted some um some things that would sounded a little bit more lively. Where are the sound parts? We got soundtrack stems. So yeah, these are the prompts that I made. So I wanted it was kind of difficult to get specifically what I wanted, but something sounded like I don't know, an actual thing. And big band was one of the things that I was able to get that sounded like a particular type of music. Usually Refusion tends to make like hip hoppy sounding things. I don't know if it's just because of how the how the bars repeat or whatever, but they usually sound a little bit hip hoppy. But this is something I was able to make. See, so that kind of goes on like that. And there's a few of them like that, and they all sound, somewhat similar, but they kind of vary throughout. So essentially, I just export them and I like cut them up minorly. These two had like very minor cuts. Uh,
It sounds like I can see someone even taking that and sampling that. It just Refusion seems like it adds a lot of noise. Like there's a lot of white noise in the background. It sounds like artifacts is what it's producing. So it's
well, that's it's kind of like how it works.
yeah.
It's like how the whole idea of diffusion, I believe, is like how when you save a JPEG, like if
Mhm.
you save over a JPEG, like 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, it gets worse and worse and worse. So eventually it's just noise.
Mhm.
Diffusion works like the reverse of that. So it takes noise and then it kind of figures out through its, the algorithm what the opposite of this noise is. So like it does the reverse of the degradation that happens when you save a file over with like a lossy file. It kind
Right.
of like figures out what the reverse of that. So it's like taking like the music equivalent of white noise and just refining it backwards into the music that it could have been if it
r-
if it was an actual file.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely I feel like that could, if you messed around with that long enough, I bet you, like, in terms of like hip hop producers, I could see them using some of that for like truly like sampling something. You know what I mean? And not, and kind of getting, you'd probably have to EQ a lot of that, those like the artifacts and white noise out of it to get it like
Yeah.
to sound a little crisper. But yeah,
And
that's
that's kind of where my like expertise ends, because I like even the Biggie vocals. I probably could have. There's definitely a way to make them more crisp than I had them, and to make the, put the beat where the beat is supposed to be sonically, and put the voice where the voice is supposed to be sonically. But I don't actually. I don't have like that level of expertise and like EQing and mastering and making the thing sound the way it's supposed to be on the track. But
Mhm.
yeah, you could definitely clean it up a little bit. But that's also a part of like with the images. Like the images tend to be a little bit low quality. And when people want to use them for art, they tend to have to put them through like another filter that like upscales them. It makes them a resolution that is workable. So it's like
Yeah.
it probably would be the same thing with music. Would you? I don't know if there's a way you would like upscale music to make it.
Yeah, you would have to EQ the shit out of that thing.
Yeah,
Like you're basically taking yeah, you're taking the white noise out of it and you are boosting levels so that way the stuff that sounds crisper is more prominent, and like the stuff that sounds less crisp is less prominent at the end of the day.
yeah. Which is like it's something that I do with like images all the time, but with
Yeah.
sound, I don't exactly know how to do that.
It's like very similar. It is like I've watched an engineer and wizard and professor work on an album uh of mine, and he pulled up like the visual wave file, like it basically like is the odd, the image of the sound, and he
Yeah,
went in with like these crazy tools just to like actually clean up a lot of stuff, and it's very very similar like in concept of like you're kind of like doing the same types of things. But all right, this is what we're gonna do. Since we are over time, we're gonna have Anwar let us know where else can people follow you. We got you on IG at the real underscore Anwar Morris 99. What else you got out there? Is there a website? What we should be looking at?
there's just IG and the website right now. The website is anwarmorse.com. The website is just a site that I made, so it's not plugged into anything or hooked into anything. You would just have to go there and experience it the old fashioned way.
Nice.
Oh snap! Did everything break? No,
And what
it probably just didn't load yet because it's a bunch of videos.
and then timeline, because we want to get excited for the Kickstarter and everything.
The Kickstarter, I don't have a timeline other than 2023
Okay.
so far. I want to be able to do it like sooner rather than later, just because I want to move on things. So maybe the summer. The summer is usually when I get to do more things and be more active with the artwork that I'm trying to create. But yeah, I typically would need a little bit of time of, with the little one being somewhere other than here, maybe she could take a trip to Buffalo for a little while. But yeah, that's she's a handful sometimes.
Well, you are first always welcome back on 3BL whenever you want to jump in and just talk and chit chat. And obviously you're always welcome to come down to DC area, man. Got to get you down here.
Oh yeah. I've been working on that. It's just like every day is just every day after I get off work, it's just like, yeah, it's like a marathon that I forget that I'm running every single day.
And I don't have any New York trips planned. Like they cut a lot of stuff at work. Because I was getting up there obviously like way more often the last like,
You can have two
years
children,
ago.
man. That's woo. You're
But
right.
I could still do, there's things that are coming up and maybe in like the late spring, early summer that are like events that I can potentially attend. So if anything like that lines up, obviously I'm gonna hit everybody up and be like, hey.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, this was a great episode. Thank you, Anwar, for joining us.
No problem.
No clue where P and E are, so we hope everything is good over there. And then I'll just hit you up on the side, man.
Yep.
All right, peace.